Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV. It is fan chat time. The transfer window is not yet closed. We've got another day. It's finishing 7 o'clock tomorrow. It used to be 11 o'clock, but they've changed it to 7 o'clock now. They must be feeling sorry for all the clubs that have to stay up late and deal with stuff late on, or they want an easier life, one of the two. Right then, so what we're going to go through is the players that we've bought in and the players that have left us, and just have a little debate about those and see what initial thoughts are. Rather than sort of picking a player and everybody chipping in, we're going to sort of split it round a little bit. So I'll get a player for everybody, and we'll sort of maybe chip in a little bit, but we'll go on that. First question before we sort of kick off. Cyprus Sadler saying, what happened to the lad we signed from Drogheda last year, then loaned him back? That was Eli Ahui. He was still at Drogheda and he had an injury, so he's not really in the field at the minute. I think part of the reason for that is we are kind of light on left wing back cover at the minute, aren't we? What other players do you think we need at the minute? Daz, what do you reckon? Who do we need between now and the close of play tomorrow?
Hi, Simon.
You're right, mate.
I think we need at least one up front, an alternative to what we've already got, and at least one. I'd like one quality midfielder. I know I keep saying that, but I want somebody more than a youth loan player, if that makes sense.
Okay. Somebody with a bit more experience.
Yeah.
Darren, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think we need to see what's happened with Weir as well for that left back. I know he's not primarily a left wing back, but he can slot in there if Harper gets injured. I don't know if Harper gets injured or loss of form. I don't know who else would play left wing back naturally.
Ram has played there, but it's not really.
We'll get onto Ram later, I'm sure. But I can't.
It's not really his position. It's not really his position.
So I think we might see a left wing back. I think, or someone who can cover that position, left side.
Cover that side of it.
It dependent on what Weir's injury is. But yeah, I agree with what Dad said. That we definitely need another striker for me, because we're a bit light on goals for that top front four, aren't we? I think it's only Presley who scored so far. The striker. So I think another striker. I think we probably do need another midfielder, but I think I'm sure we'll talk about this, but I think it's contingent on players going out.
Yeah. What do you think, Phil? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to what's been said there. I think a striker and a midfielder would be ideal to round it off. I think if you look at the striking options, it's I worry particularly if Presley breaks down. There's only really Jammer who can play that type of role.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Stuttle injury meant that we brought Carnu in, but I've been fairly encouraged by what I've seen from him so far. But I just don't think there's much backup there. With Jammer, we know he's sort of coming to the end and has struggled in recent times when he's come off the bench and hasn't really had much of an impact. Adoma does a job there, but I'd rather him be doing a job somewhere else, not as a striker. And Josh Gordon seems to be out the picture completely at the moment. He's not been in the squad for a while. So I think if I was going to go for one, I'd get another striking option, but ideally another midfielder as well. Somebody who can unlock it or try and unlock a defence in games where we're behind and teams are sitting in and they're asking us to try and break them apart. I think we're still lacking a player that can do that particular job. Yeah.
Frank, thoughts?
I agree. I think we need another striker. Someone maybe with a bit more experience. I don't know. Just someone that would get more likely to get us a goal. And then probably another midfielder, maybe a CDM. we do have Comley, who is not the greatest, and Warrington, who 50-50. The jury's out if he's good, but I feel like another decent one. I'd hope for sort of like Chang, because he hasn't got a move in. You could hopefully loan him back in.
Yeah, I think if we were to bring Chang in, a player that we've already signed and contracted in Lewis Warrington, you're pretty much saying to him, get out of the way, aren't you? So it's like the decision to bring Lewis Warrington in, you've got to sort of not exactly hang your hat on him, but you've got to sort of give him a bit of time, haven't you, to adjust. And I think he is getting better. But as I said, we're mindful of time, so we're going to be quite sharp tonight. That's the plan. So I'm going to go through the players that have sort of either left us or joined us, and get a view from the individual for that player. So we're not going to go around everybody for every player, because we have too much repetition doing that. So right then, first one, who wants to put their hand up and go first? Believe me, Ned, you are a confident bunch, aren't you?
It depends who it is.
Yeah.
Darren. Go on, Darren, we'll go you. First player, Courtney Clark.
Yeah, I think he had a good pre-season, didn't he, Courtney Clark? I think you can tell from what I've seen, maybe a little bit raw to be starting, but I think one of the things we wanted to see this season was a bit more like actual rotation of the squad. So I can see him coming in, hopefully. Given Barrett's form, though, I'm sure we'll get onto Barrett. And hopefully he stays by this, tomorrow evening. But yeah, I can see him. So I think he's had a decent start. He looks, as I said, good pre-season. I think he just needs game time to show what he can do. So yeah, I think just in general, I think he fits the Trivella model. It themes of young, non-national league level type of player that we can develop and sell on. The most important thing is we get promoted, but I can see how he fits that mold.
Yeah, and I think he's quite adaptable as well, isn't he?
Yeah, can play multiple positions. Can play right wing back, left wing back if he needs to, as we saw against Grimsby, was it? Or in the middle as an 8. Yeah, so I can understand that one. Yep.
So I think it's possible that he might be able to cover that position. Yeah, good positive start. I think everybody'd agree that he's been a great addition so far, and looks like he's settling into EFL life pretty quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Next one, Phil, Jack Earing. Thoughts?
Well, I think it was probably the right decision to let him go based on his injury record. I quite liked him as a player. I thought he always did a decent job when he was fit, but obviously he had a couple of quite prolonged spells out of the team injured, and I think probably last time when he picked up the second injury, that was probably one injury too far for the club. So I understand the decision to get rid of him, but it's nice to see him in the team at Barrow. Seems like he's made a decent start there. I think he scored for them last week.
Yeah, he got a goal, didn't he?
Yeah, and obviously I wish him well with the rest of his career, because I always thought he did a decent job when he was on the pitch for us. But sadly, he was a little bit struck down by injuries during his time here.
Yeah, I think he's got sort of what's his name? The other fella, Rory Holden. Vibes about him, hadn't they? With the injuries. Next one, Daz Harrison Burke.
I think he's done really well. I think there's you saw the goal he scored against Salford. He's a threat. I think he'll benefit from being in a team that that Flint and Presley or Flint and Matt or whoever's playing at the time are in as well, because he's not the most obvious person to pick up from set pieces. Defensively, we've been much tighter since he's come into the side, and I think whoever scouted him did a good job.
I'm surprised with that one, to be honest. He'd only played 20 league games before he joined us. So,
Yeah, I think Darren's already mentioned the model. We know what the model is: young, improvable footballers. He fits into that. They're after players that have fell through the cracks in academy football. I think he's done. I think he'd be really pleased with the way he's started his Walsall career.
yeah, I think everybody'd agree with that as well, wouldn't they? Yeah, loving him. Next one, challenge Oshie. Frank.
I think yes, his end of the season was very poor, and he was not good. He was not good enough at the end of that season. When the butt end of the season, he didn't step in right. He looked decent at the start, and I think unfortunately he was Sattler loved him a bit too much. I think. And,
I think the smiles all over the board there. I think that's
I think taking him away from Sadler might have been better off for him than it is for Sadler.
Yeah, I know where Darren's got lots of comments about him as a midfielder.
Yeah, I was glad I don't have to watch that again. But yeah, so yeah, I think to be fair to him, I think. Sorry to take just as a slight comment. I think the injuries didn't help, and he never really had a set position or settled. Played for a good 6-9 months, week in week out, and I think that ultimately, and then playing around the back or in defence, I think it ultimately made him a bit confused. I thought, but yeah,
got you. Next one, Phil. This is a real emotional one, really. Mason Hancock.
Yeah, I was starting to really like him, and I think other people were as well. I was really quite impressed with what I saw from him in the early games. Real shame that he got that injury against Grimsby, and yeah, looks a good player. Hopefully, he's back sooner rather than later. But it looks like it's going to be a good 6 months or so. Yeah, I think there's a comment there about him being injury prone. I didn't realise actually he'd had quite a lengthy spell out the previous season. Yeah. So hopefully he's not going to be another player that we've signed that we're going to see, spending more time on the injury table than on the pitch. But it's a shame because I like the look of him in pre-season, and I thought he started the season really well. He looks a good player, but I think Vinnie Harper also looks decent as well, so I think we're covered in that area. But yeah, like Darren alluded to earlier, hopefully the Evan Weir injury isn't too bad, because I think that would leave us short of cover if anything happened to Harper.
Yeah, sort of getting us through to January with Vinny is a bit of a challenge. We'll go on to Vinny next for Darren. Vinnie Harper, he's had his injury concerns as well. When we signed him from Exeter, they talked about if we can keep him fit, he's an absolutely super addition. Your thoughts on him?
Darren or Daz?
Darren, sorry. Yeah, Darren.
Oh, me. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, again, he's, Hancock was first choice, wasn't he, up until his injury, really. So, again, I think it's because it's just a player that we're seeing for the first time in the last week or two. So I haven't got an unbelievable opinion, other than, as you mentioned, that he looked okay. I think he looked okay. Was it Stoke as well? Looked okay. Again, it's one of them, isn't it? I mean, good, background in terms of playing in League One, which is what we should be looking for, really. But as you say, injuries is always, it seems like we're never going to go out really and buy, a top League One player or League Two player. They're going to have something wrong with them in some aspect.
The old line from Dave, who I used to sit by, he if they had everything, they wouldn't be playing for us.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's they're sold, right? We've seen many times, but yeah, hard to judge, hard to form an opinion. But his background and how he's looked okay so far. Might been the odd little moment where he's probably showed his rustiness. But yeah, I can't really comment too much apart from give him let's just see how he plays. No.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything just to add into that? Or you're being... Go on, Daz.
I'll jump in with a quick one. You said who else can play in that position with Hancock being out for a while? Charlie Lakin did it a couple of times last year really well. I'm not saying we should, and I'm not saying I want it. Far from it. But if you've got to put somebody there, I wouldn't be frightened to play Charlie Lakin there.
Yeah, he's covered a few spots. Charlie Lakin. I think for me with Vinny, he's far better going forward than he's defending. So that's my only concern. Move on to the next player. For Frankie, we might be seeing him on Saturday. Ryan Stirk.
I don't know what I should. Is there anything nice I can say after his leave? He was a very good player. I very much liked him, but then he left, and I feel like he joined the better team, and props to him. But also, I feel half of me also feels like he's a snake. Because he is one of the reasons we got relegated. And yes, he was one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. We did really well, and I was surprised he left. But he's really good, and it's a massive loss. And you can see with replacements not having a replacement of his quality, and it's a bit disappointing that we lost him on a free. And if I thought we'd lose him, we'd hopefully be on like a contract, and we just sold him to a proper club. And a big club, but I do feel
Chesterfield will love that comment.
Unfortunate that we lost him to what could possibly be a promotion rivals.
Yeah,
it's just that disappointment, and I think it depends on the player, and there's a bit of me that says, why leave us after you've done that bad season and go to another League Two team?
I think. He's just gone for the money, I think, as Daz says, Darren seems to be alluding to. Yeah, that's quite often the case, isn't it? Walsall play if they have a good season and the contract's up, somebody will come offer them more money, and they'll just jump. And their agent is going to be saying, "You're not staying at Walsall for £1,500 a week. I can get you £3,000," and they'll soon be off. Right then, next one, Daz, Liam Gordon.
Okay. I have got Stirk was the one I would have kept, by the way. Stirk was the loss for us last season. I think Taylor Allen, there's a profit in it. I think David Cadbu, we hit the jackpot, and I'm sure we'll come on to those two in a minute. So sorry for jumping the gun. McKinty was playing above his level. Liam Gordon. Once you've got to where we got to and didn't get over the line, there's some difficult decisions to make. You have to get better, and you don't get better by keeping everybody that you've got. Andy Butler, for people who want to go back 10 years, we had to move Andy Butler on, or Andy Butler had to move for us to be able to move forward. Yeah. Everybody loved him. He did a great job for us, but to get better, we needed to move on from that player. And Liam Gordon, I put in the same kind of bracket. It's time to move on. There was too many holes going backwards. There wasn't, for all the threat, there wasn't that much coming forward in terms of end product. We needed to move him on. He did the job. He saved us. He saved us that problem. Good riddance.
Yeah, to be honest, I think as you're sort of alluding to there, if we'd have gone up, that's a player I would look to have replaced. And I don't think he's ready for League One. Compare him to Connor Barrett and the amount of influence Connor Barrett had compared to Liam Gordon. And I think Port Vale grabbed the wrong one, perhaps, if not that we'd let him have Connor Barrett anyway. Right then, next one.
They couldn't afford the other one, Simon.
No, of course not. Next one is this is a quick one, but I want to include it. Jensen Kilroy, George Barrett, Darren.
We've not really seen them that much, have we? So
No. I didn't want to completely ignore them.
It just, it's like, okay. Well, again, I'm all for young players getting a go and giving them a chance. Unfortunately, I think we seem to be buying, for our young goalkeepers at least, we do seem to be, again, have this model. Is it the third season running now that we've had a young loan goalkeeper? So that seems to be the model. So I'm not too sure.
Season, I think, yeah.
Yeah, oh, there you go. So that looks like a decision to me. So how do young goalkeepers get in? I don't know. I suppose if they're good enough. So if Jensen's good enough, he might get a chance. But I think Sam Hornby's the backup. So it's just one of them. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
And after that, I did ask at the fans forum. Not Ben Boy. What's the other one?
Ben Sadler.
Not Sadler. It's the owner. What's his name?
Tom Bear.
Tom Bear, that's it. And this is coming from Pomlet, so you have to take a bit of grain of salt. But he did said, he said next year Jensen Kilroy will be the main keeper.
And Lee Pomlet said that. Well, if Lee Pomlet said it, it's obviously going to happen.
Yeah. Let's. I was just going to jump in there, and I'll just save it. Save myself some trouble.
Next one up, Darren. Donovan Daniels.
Yeah. Again, I think Daz made a great point about needing to get better and move some players on. He actually, a bit like, a Captain Fantastic like Andy Butler was. He reached his point, I think. Great leader off the pitch, did a lot for the community, and we should applaud that. But he was injury prone, and when we've seen him in the last year, I think he's lost half a yard of pace and just didn't look right. So I think that was a decent. I think he got a decent move staying in League Two actually. But yeah. Good leader. Helped us when we were down in the trenches. But again, I think we needed to improve.
Okay. The fact that he's tied up with Manny Month at Oldham, that's an interesting return for the two of them. On to Phil, Aaron, Elvis, Presley.
Yeah, I think for the way we play, we need to have a striker like him, who's big and is a physical presence and can hold the ball up and can bring other players into play. I think he does all of those things well. I would have liked to score more than 1 in 6 as a striker, because you're going towards Josh Gordon territory there. But no, I think he's got attributes to his game that we need, the way we play, and I do think you look at his work rate. I mean, he's butting heads with the centre half constantly. It's a bit of a graveyard shift, to be perfectly honest, for any striker doing that all game. It's a hard slog, and he's giving everything for the team clearly. And I think that, as I've already said, the way we play, we need a striker with a physical presence who's got aerial ability, and I think he does all of those things really well. I was really pleased he got off the mark against Barnet. Probably should have added to his tally against Salford. He missed a couple of chances in the second half. I'd have expected him to have taken at least one of those. So a few more goals would be nice, but I think with what else he gives the team, I think he's been a good acquisition.
Yeah. I think that's fair. He's got more energy than Jammer.
Oh yeah, he's certainly a far better version. Yeah, without doubt.
Simon, I think we need to be careful. I think Phil's made a good point there. The comparison to Josh Gordon, he's astute as well. That role that Sadler asked somebody to play up front isn't about scoring goals. That role that he asked him to play is facilitating other people to be in opportunities to score, which is why you see Lakin score, because Presley made the run, which is why you see a number of goals we've scored this season. That we shouldn't judge him on goals. We shouldn't judge Josh Gordon on goals as well. Sorry, Darren. Because that is a role that he's effectively sacrificing himself to make the team better. And I think he's done a fab job of it so far. So I think Phil's right, but we shouldn't measure him on goals scored, because I think it's the contribution, not the goal scored.
Yeah, I think overall it's the overall effect, isn't it? The team effect. If he never scores but we win every week, then everybody will be happy. But again, as Phil mentioned, there are opportunities where he perhaps should have scored. So it's not his primary responsibility, but he does need to be chipping in.
Yeah.
Does need to be chipping in more.
And I go back to what I said earlier on. If he gets crocked or if he's out for a prolonged period, then I think that would have a really detrimental effect on.
Yeah, you'd be leaning on Jammer again, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd be leaning on Jammer. Right then, Frank, next up. Miles Roberts, man of the match performance on Saturday. Tell us what you think of him.
Wow, I think he's got more into the our keeper, as we saw from the Barnett goal. That wasn't perfect, but in his recent performances, he has been the one that has saved us. Grimsby, we could have been how many goals down before he saved us, and then yesterday the 2 saves he pulled off, which reason we won that game. We could have lost that game so much easily without a decent keeper like he is, and I think his mistakes you kind of have to pat off and say Simkin last season had a great end. He also did make a lot of mistakes in that beginning of the season, and I think any mistake he made, you just got to hope that, and I think will just be inexperienced, and eventually he will be better. And from what I saw yesterday, more performances like that, and his kicking isn't the worst. It's still not great, but it's not the worst. He's a decent keeper, and I think he will have a good season for us.
Yeah. One thing I particularly liked about Miles Roberts that struck me very early, I think it was one of the pre-season games against the Villa, I think it was. He'd just conceded a goal, and then the next attack they had, it was the confidence that he came out and dealt with it. To sort of, I know he's not that younger keeper, he's a youngish keeper, but I mean, the fact he was resilient and not affected by conceding. So that's a good one. Daz, we sort of touched on it earlier. Tyler Allen, how much will we miss him? Or was it good business and we're going to be okay? Because we had a similar situation when Isaac Hutchinson left us. It's like, how are we going to replace his goals and his contributions? And same with Tyler Allen. So what's your thoughts there?
Slightly different to Isaac Hutchinson, at the risk of upsetting his dad. I think that Taylor Allen deal was a win for everybody. It was a win for the player. It was a win for Walsall. It was a win for Wycombe because he's a player that obviously wanted. I'm really pleased for him as well. He came in, did a job, established himself in the team, contributed massively, got a move at the end of it. Good luck to him. Absolutely. And we've used the money well. So for me, it's a win all round.
Fantastic. I remember talking to Graham Deakin on my Walsall Fan TV Insights show, talking about men's mental health, which is a great show if people haven't already seen it. The struggle of guys, that sort of GD Health Hub that they hold at Walsall Wood on Monday nights. But he was also an agent for Tyler Allen, and he'd been cast aside by Mike Flynn, and but he kept his head down and was training really well. And it was Matt Sadler that saw the professional ethic and gave him a new contract before that. I think we're all surprised when he got a new contract. And then obviously the rest is history. He's had absolutely super season and got the move that he fully deserved. Next one, Darren, Johnny Stuttle.
Yeah, I know. It's a shame, isn't it, for him? Again, just tagging on the back of what Daz was saying about our strikers. I think he was that sort of, looked to me at least, that Gordon sort of run down the channels and, create outlets and stuff. Just a shame we didn't get to see enough of him. I didn't think he was to be fair, I didn't think he was a massive goal threat, but didn't get loads of chance to show what he could do, really. So yeah, hard go, especially as a young player. Like it's horrible. Has it been confirmed exactly what he's he's had yet? I don't remember seeing that. I mean, I guess it was knee ligaments or something.
I think it was ACL. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think they've confirmed that, but the way he went down, I sort of it made me wince from exactly the same problem I had.
Yeah, so I'm sure we still send our sympathy for him, but it's, especially at that age, it's a hard injury to recover from and get game time and stuff. So yeah, I really feel for him.
Yeah, it's tough one that was.
Mm-hmm.
Next one's an easy one for Phil. Aidan Flint.
Thank you for giving me that one. Aidan Flint, officially my new man crush. Yeah, he's been an absolute colossal. He really has. Fantastic signing. I think everything he brings in the middle of that back three, you can see him. He's constantly talking. He's constantly organising. He's constantly geeing the others up around him. He's aerially dominant. And actually, one thing that I didn't realise, which I think about him, is how good his distribution from the back is at times as well. I mean, particularly in the Salford game in the first half, he knocked 3 or 4 cracking balls forward to set us away. Nothing but praise for him. He's been an excellent addition, a great captain, a great leader. And yeah, I think just make sure we wrap him up and put him in an oxygen tent between every match, so he's fit and ready to go. An excellent signing, undoubtedly.
I think I've already said on the channel with Aidan Flint. I think if we had Aidan Flint last season, the collapse wouldn't have happened.
I think I saw a similar comment. I can't remember where I saw it. It was on one of the fan sites or something where somebody put a comment after yesterday's game at Milton Keynes that we were an Aidan Flint away from promotion last season, and I think that was I wouldn't disagree with that. Got you.
It's before I forget, I just want to mention we are entering a team, Walsall Fan TV team, in a 7-a-side tournament that is happening next Saturday morning. That's in the Custard Bowls training ground. The Compton training ground for the Wolves Content Creators Cup, and we are raising some money for the foundation. The foundation have been kind enough to give us some kits. We've got a few more to complete that job, but that's really good from there. And the website is also now live, so you can go on walsallfantv.co.uk and have a look at what we've put together on there. And there's a Just Giving page, and that is all in that as well.
Simon, I hope you haven't tagged that onto the Aidan Flint bit, because you're expecting me to play like him next Saturday morning, because you're going to be disappointed.
You, from what I saw you on Thursday, you're solid, mate. You're going to be fine. Okay. Right then, next one. We've got back to Daz, Douglas James Taylor.
I've got nothing to say. Nothing to say. I thought he kind of he needed a move. He got a move to Drogheda, did okay, and he's gone on from there. I think we've seen the difference. There's a difference between League 2 and League of Ireland. I think, without being rude, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I think there is a difference. He's gone, so honestly, I got nothing to add. I can't add anything.
Okay, we'll move on for that. Frankie, Daniel Cox.
He's played a few times. He's looked decent. I don't know. He looks like a good substitute. That's what he looks like, a good sub that you can bring on when needs be. That shot, he can get forwards. Like the shot against Grimsby, it was outstanding. But other than that, I think he hasn't done much, and I think he will do much more. Probably will be playing on Tuesday, I assume.
Yeah,
he's decent. So. He's just the sub that we probably need because we just need more players. Probably didn't have enough defenders. So a defender that's young, that needs be. I wonder if he'll replace Weir, but he probably won't. But yeah, I think he's decent.
His first couple of games, I thought he'd looked very good, and he was keeping Evan Weir out. But Grimsby, he sort of got found out big style, didn't they? I think, and he had a really difficult game. Obviously, he's winning his crossbar challenge aside, I think he really struggled in that game.
Do you know where Rico Brown is?
Rico Brown, he's going to be playing on Tuesday, I reckon.
Why was he on Why was he on the bench, or he hasn't been playing? He started.
Well, he just played the one defender, didn't he? Effectively, Priest. But I think, without doubt, I'll be very surprised if Rico doesn't play on Tuesday, because he's looked good, hasn't he? I think he was unlucky not to keep his place, but Harrison Burke has took his opportunity as well, hasn't he? Right then, next up, Phil. It's the last time we're going to mention this guy. It's the last time we're going to mention him. Tell us your thoughts.
Are we referring to Danny Johnson by any chance?
Yeah.
In a nutshell, I'll recap what we said on many fan chats previously. Still one of the most bizarre incidents in recent times for me, the whole Danny Johnson saga. For me, underused, undervalued. We spoke about, and I know Daz spoke very well last time about the failure to even, or at least incorporate a plan B that involved getting him on the pitch and getting him in areas where he could score. Look, he's gone now. Good luck to him at Hartlepool. Hope he bangs in plenty of goals. For me, it was a little bit of a missed opportunity, and I think we could certainly have utilised him a lot better than we did.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw something on Twitter, because I thought somebody in League Two would have grabbed him, and Lee Ball's comment here is quite interesting as well. Danny Johnson away from promotion. I think that's probably true as well. But he didn't go to League Two and then ended up going to the National League with Hartlepool. And somebody posted on Twitter, he came on as an 85-minute substitute. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting that he has. I was going to mention that he has sort of quite quickly found his way onto the bench at Hartlepool. And another thing, I know we'll probably come on to him later, so I don't want to say too much about him at this stage. But people talked about Levi Amanci, how it would be good for Levi Amanci to go to Rochdale on loan because he'd get minutes there. Well, he's the same. He hasn't started a league game for them. He's only been coming on for like the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes here and there. So I think it just shows that sometimes sending a player out on loan doesn't automatically guarantee that they're going to get minutes somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, let's move on from DJ. I think we've said all the things that need to be said about him. And let's look at what we have got now rather than
he hasn't scored for Hartlepool yet. Started 5, been sub once, so but he hasn't scored yet.
Okay, there you go.
I think, as I say, we'll move on from that. Darren, Jake Holman.
That was a surprising one, wasn't it? When he sort of just came out of nowhere, didn't he? It was like, oh, we've signed this lad. Again, I feel like I've said this a lot tonight. I mean, he's not played that much, has he? Really, he looks a little lightweight, I would say. I think we've got Ram there, who I would put ahead of him at the moment, personally, if he ever plays. But I'm sure we'll get onto that at some point. But yeah, so it looks. I mean, once we saw Emmanuel Oftadibi's best of video, I vowed never again to take YouTube videos as at face value. He looked like the next Pele, didn't he? But again, fits the mold, doesn't it? Young. not from the English league, or at least it looks like it might be a little bit below. Good, decent background. It just needs to play. So I wonder whether Ram or him might go out on loan. Probably not him, but I wonder if one of them, because I think only one of them makes the bench really, and I think they both missed the last one or two as well. So I think
neither was on the bench Saturday. No,
and you know another thing, I think he needs conditioning personally in terms of physicality, but I think they only have like 26 game seasons or something out there in Australia.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And it's a big difference playing in the UK over winter and stuff. So I think he needs game time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big shock to him when the cold weather comes. Because I think in Australia the coldest it gets is about 22, isn't it? So that's going to be a shock. Next one, Daz Lewis Warrington.
Oh, okay. It's the kind of position that we need to fill. I think he's done okay. I think you can see his shorter games. How much of a pre-season he had, I don't know, because he doesn't look quite at the same level as fitness as others. I didn't see Saturday's game. I was on the ferry, so I missed Saturday. So I can't comment on Milton Keynes. Don't think he's blown me away in the games that I've seen him play, but I don't think I've been ultra disappointed either. I think kind of middle of the bat, kind of 6 out of 10 start.
Yeah. Frankie, do you want to give some feedback on Saturday's game for Warrington?
Yeah. So in the first half, he looked decent and he played all right. However, he did make one really bad pass, and he was about outside the goal. He passed it straight to their player, and they could have scored from that chance, and it was very disappointing. And in the second half, like a lot of, I think he just slowly went away. It was just like he's decent, just that's it, just a decent player.
Yeah, I think as Daz has said there, I think he needs game time. Against, from what I saw of the MK game, he did have probably his best game for us. He looked quite composed on the ball, but a few lapses in concentration. Yeah, a few lapses in concentration could be a little bit serious for us.
Just one more thing on that, Simon. You don't make it through Everton's academy without having something about you. By the way, there's very few that come through Everton's academy, and we've seen in the past Fox and Dan. And Gerard. Most of the kids that make it through Everton can play.
Well, we've got to remember as well, he played 46 games for Fleetwood in League One just a couple of years ago. So there's obviously something in there. Maybe it's just he needs time to settle, perhaps. Next one, Frankie's Ryan Finnegan.
He's played a few times. When we signed him, I didn't think it was the greatest signing. Once again, just another sub. He came on and he scored at Grimsby. Well, kind of, and he plays decently. And he's in against Salford. He made a few good passes, and he looked quite decent. He's just another one of those players, another good sub that you can bring on to change the game. And give like more choice. It's once again, give him a bit more time, get more game time, and he might be good. You might never see him ever again.
It's funny, I think I've been really impressed with him.
Yeah, I would say I quite like the look of him. I want to see more of him. I thought the half hour he came on against Salford, he looked very good. Looks like he's tidy on the ball. Looks like he's a good decision maker. Be interesting to see where he ends up, actually, whether it's because I think he could probably do a job in different positions in midfield. But yeah, I'm with you, Simon. I've been quite impressed with him. I want to see a bit more of him.
Yeah, I think, again, he's had sort of injury concerns. I think that's the reason why he's with us. The Blackpool manager has sort of alluded to the fact that he might have him back in January. So it's one of those that we can't sort of get too used to having. I think comparing him to George Hall, he's got more physical presence than George Hall, but a similar kind of player, I think, in some respects. Could be a good addition for us. I think, will he get a start on Tuesday? That is the question. Next one up, we've only got a couple left. We go Darren for this one. David Cagboo. I'm going to just give a warm up to this one. I think
Yeah, go on.
Had a pants down moment, I think.
Daylight robbery. I mean, I won't be too mean. He's a young player and stuff. He always seemed to have a mistake in him for me. I was surprised at the fact that someone paid money for him, to be honest. At that much. Obviously, though, to be balanced, he's played for Irish under-21, so he's got to have something about him. I just felt I never felt completely sure with him in there, but that's just my own opinion. I got a little bit fed. I think in the playoff final where he just kept launching it out of play, and that throwing thing that he always seemed to have this little. I guess go back to what I was saying earlier. We're at Walsall at the end of the day. We're never going to get the finished product. But one thing I will say, he's a good example of the model of getting young players in and selling them on. I just feel like we probably got the best end of the deal there. It wasn't complete. I don't want to give the impression he was completely rubbish, but I just never felt 100% secure. But he played most of last season, didn't he?
He's had a good long season with us.
Yeah,
I think, as Daz mentioned, similar with Liam Gordon. If we'd have got promoted, he's a player that we'd have probably looked to have upgraded on. But then him going to League One, I think he struggled with Peterborough early doors. But I think, given time, I think he'll come good. He was improving, and as Darren has said, it's really good business from Walsall's point of view. We're on to the last one. We can all have a go on this one. Thoughts on Daniel Carnu? Start on Phil.
Like Daz, I didn't see yesterday. I was away yesterday, so I didn't make it to MK, so I can't comment on yesterday. The game he came on against Salford, I thought he looked quite bright. I thought he looked like he got a bit of pace about him, and he showed a few nice touches. But I've literally only seen him one sort of half-hour, 20-minute cameo, so I don't think I can comment too much. But I'll be interested to see what the others who saw him start yesterday think.
We jump on to Frankie for that then.
Wow, his first half, I think he was brilliant. I liked him. He made the right runs. He caused them complete danger. He looked he looked really good. His one problem is he's just not fit. He couldn't do that in the second half, and it's because he's probably been brought in out of pre-season. And I think you just bringing back his fitness and he looked one of the best players in that first half. He made the right runs, and as I said, I think he was we were unfortunate not to score in that first half. And in the second half, if you look at that goal, he was ready for the run. But by the time he came off, he was absolutely shattered and giving up.
Yeah, it's a case of sort of building his minutes. I'll let Daz come in a second. In fact, go on, Daz, you go first.
Watch his movement for the goal. Honestly, watch his movement for the goal. Stuttle picks the ball up. The two centre halves of Milton Keynes are really tight. They look really good, and he splits them. He splits them with a run one way, then changes direction to the point where the centre half on the right, if you watch it on the video, the closest to the camera, he ends up where he's either got to leave Carnu to make his run into the box or cover Lakin, and in the end does nothing. And the work that Carnu did, movement alone, was what created the space to get the shot in, to get the goal. You got anybody, I encourage everybody to go and watch the goal again and watch his movement. It's absolutely first class for effectively a child.
And also Vinny. I think that goal doesn't happen without Vinny's run either.
I think
that defender I'm talking about, he's effectively 3-on-1 at one stage, because of Carnew's movement. The other thing I'll say is watch the front 3 or 4 from Milton Keynes. When we turn the ball over, they just give up. They got some superstars up front, but they got some luxury players in there as well, and they either need to buck up their attitudes or they'll find it harder than they've found it so far.
Yeah, I think there's lots of credit there. I think there's one thing I want to sort of mention from the bits of the game that I saw. Carnew has got the pace, and there was several times where we could have just knocked the ball in behind and it'd have been through. But I think we've sort of not really in the habit of having a striker who can do that. So I think we can use him better. And as Frankie quite rightly said, he's still building up his minutes. But I think we can use him better. But as we kicked off at the start of the show, we need cover, because if he had a knock now when he was out for a few games, we are down to bare bones again. And so that's the big concern, isn't it? That's the big concern. As far as transfer windows go, it's been good though, I think. Darren?
Yeah, I think again we've definitely seen the model in place. I think we're missing that midfielder to drive us on personally. That a real quality in the middle. I think that probably requires a bit more of an outlay, and centre forward as well. So I think I would rate it at sort of 7-ish at the moment. A lot of this window will depend on what happens in the next 24 hours. Depend on what comes in, but also
right then. Don't know what's happened with there. We had sort of a bit of a count out. Have we got everybody back?
I think we're all here. Are we all here? I think it's Simon. You seem to have a very interesting pose on the. Oh, you're back. Yeah, not the most flattering, Simon. Different.
I've got to face the radio, not TV.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying was just recap is I think the next 24 hours are critical for the season. Personally, worried about where the goals are going to come from based on the output of the strikers. But as Dad said, that's not the complete job. But I think over the season, I think we need some like Lowe last season who can score. So I think that's important. But I think the key thing is we don't do a Walsall and we have a 11 o'clock on transfer deadline. Connor Barrett's been sold to, Wickham
I think because Connor Barrett has got two years left on his contract, there's no pressure to sell him. And I think if he has another good season, his value is going to go up again. So that commercially, if I was looking at it commercially, trying to make money, there's no reason why not to hold him for another year.
I think Dad might someone come in with a serious offer.
Disagree with that. Go on, Dad.
You're down to with 2 years left on his contract. This is probably prime transfer fee territory. You get it done a year, he can have a really good year, but teams will know he's only got a year left, and we're vulnerable then. I think one of the things that I was going to say was the 3-year deal that they gave a young, improvable footballer that they kind of obviously targeted, because they clearly went after him in the January and didn't get him and waited for him. They got well rewarded for that 3-year deal, and it stops that ever rotating churn of, we have a year of building, a year of challenging, lose everybody, a year of rebuilding, a year of challenging, lose everybody. I think the 3-year contracts put us in a good position, but you won't get a more advantageous selling position than we're in now. If you want Connor Barrett right now, you got to pay a lot of money for him. This time next year, you're going to have the numbers people at Walsall saying, if we don't get to sign a new deal, we're going to lose him for nothing next year. This is the time. If you want to sell him for money, Unfortunately, this is the window for it. Or persuade him to sign a new deal.
I suppose
And I'm
the
not
question,
saying we should sell him, by the way. I'm really not saying we should sell him, but you won't get more for him than you get for him now.
the question is, what do you want more, profit or promotion?
Well, one sometimes funds the other.
Yeah. Just coming back on Carno for a second. This was sort of the same with Johnny Stuttle, really. He needs his first goal. I think Johnny Stuttle was doing well. He just needed to get that first goal. And I think the sooner we get Carno up and running, the better. And I think he'll be okay.
Can I just? I think for me at least, it looks like Presley and Carno will be the front two. It seems. Yeah. I get worried when I see Jamil Matt and Albert Adoma with the combined age of God knows what as the striking replacements. I still think that the Jamil Matt deal especially was ridiculous this season. I said that at the time. This isn't like me going back and like in the benefit of hindsight. I thought that was the time to move him on, and I think it was a little bit of sentimentality with him because he looks way off it in my opinion this season.
Well, I think let's be honest there. With what we've heard, he was planning to retire if Walsall had got promoted, and I
don't care
to give him another year. To give him another year, I think
it's madness personally.
We really got a lot out of Jammer last year.
I think we did, and he put such a shift in last year. I think it's really that he was being flogged every single week, and I think it looks like that really took an effect on him that last month. I think. Just to qualify, I could have understood because he seems to be using the Doma as a forward, right? One of them, getting one of them in. I think to give both and have them both on the bench as our striking replacements, that's what fills me with a little bit of. I think we need to have someone in there who can come on and cause damage or start. Personally, Jamil Matt and Albert Adoma shouldn't be starting. I don't think they will, and I think that's a problem.
They shouldn't be. I agree. Shouldn't have both of them on the bench, and I think you're right there.
I think they're both good substitutes when you're winning.
Yeah, I agree. Can't chase the game.
Albert's the perfect substitute. You take Elvis off with 20 minutes to go. Matt is the perfect kind of 20-minute impact substitute. I kind of disagree slightly with Darren. I think he adds stuff in the dressing room as well, which I think is important in a young dressing room. I don't think we've got anybody up front on the bench who can drag us or drag a game that we're losing into a winning position. I think that's what we're missing.
Can I just, I was doing a little bit of looking earlier on about this because the thing that's concerned me this season is both of the games this season where we've gone behind Gillingham and Grimsby. We haven't got anything out of either game and we haven't scored in either game. Now, I know that's a small sample size, but it goes back to last season as well. If you think of similar games at the end of last season, like Accrington at home, like Barrow away, like Swindon at home, the last time we came from behind and won a game was Chesterfield at home in the league, which was something like the 12th of February last year. That was the last time we came from. We've come from behind and got points in certain games. I think there's Harrogate springs to mind, and I think when DJ got the 2 late goals against Salford. But our record of coming from behind and winning games isn't great. And the one thing about our substitutes, the players that we bring on, they're pretty much all like for like substitutes. I want to see. I still want to see something different, particularly in those games where we go behind and other teams sit in a bit deeper and say, right, come on, let's see what you got. Break us down, open us up. I think that's been our Achilles heel for a while. And that's why I'm still confused that Ram's not on the bench. And that's where I'd like to see a player coming in that can give us something that can unlock a defence or just something a bit different.
A plan B, isn't
incorporate a change of shape. Where particularly in those games, I think when we're winning, we're great, but when we're losing, our record at getting back into games and winning games when we're behind isn't great, and that for me is still the thing that's lacking, that ability to change a game or that player, that slight change of shape, change of formation, and a player that's got something a bit different that can try and open things up.
I think it's a really good point. I think the Grimsby one is a bit of an anomaly because of the injuries. When we end up with so many square pegs in round off.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The Gillingham one, absolutely. I think every substitution, I think 4 of the 5 substitutions kind of made us worse, not better. And you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think Ram could potentially be the guy that can perhaps change it for us. Somebody mentioned the other day, I think we're going to sort of finish off in a second. Against the good teams, we're sort of playing a high press, winning the ball, hitting them on the counter. For teams that come and try and sit in against us, I think that's where we're going to struggle.
Yeah.
And we need somebody like Ram, maybe Jake Holman, maybe Ryan Finnegan that can sort of unlock them. And that's maybe a challenge that's coming. But just as a final thing before we close, thoughts on Matt Sadler from where we are right now. Darren?
Jury's still out for me, unfortunately. We've had a good start. Don't get me wrong, right? I didn't think we'd personally. I put my hands up. I didn't think we'd have a start like this. There's a pattern in the last 2 seasons of us starting okay, well, having a good sort of Christmas time, and then falling away like we did in the first full season of Sadler, where I think it was 11 points from the last 11 games. We all know we're not going to go get PTSD from last season. Still, I mean, I was very, very angry. Still, the last few weeks has took the edge off a little bit. But the only way I will be happy is if there's a P next to our name at the end of this season. I think that would be the only, what's the word?
The only answer.
The only answer for me is if we get promoted.
The only vindication,
Last season was completely unacceptable.
Okay, Phil?
I think similar to what Darren's just said. I think certainly the start to the season's taken some immediate pressure off him. I think we spoke in the first fan chat that it was important that he started the season well. And I think generally speaking, we've done that. So I think he's taken some immediate pressure off. But I'm still not sure where it's going to go. It's still very early days. It's a good start, but we've got a couple of tricky games coming up. And I still think it's on a little bit of a knife edge in terms of if we have a bad run, things could change. But at the time being, fair play. I think when you consider all the things that the number of new players that we have had quite a tricky start. We've already played quite a few teams that are in and around the top 7. I think it's been a decent start, and hopefully we can build on that.
Daz, what optimism have you got that Matt Sadler has learnt and he's starting to show progression from some of the issues he had last season?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it, to be fair. I'm really pleased for him, by the way. I'm really pleased that he's had the start that he's had, because whether we like it or not, Trevella have stuck by him, and they're gonna stick by him for the foreseeable, I think. Has he learned things? Don't know. I think one of the things that we have done, whether it's the manager or just recruitment generally, we've learned that you can't play 12 players to death and survive a complete season. And there is alternatives in key roles. Now, there's still things that we need to fill. I think he's surrounded himself with, he uses the term good people a lot. I think he's surrounded himself with good people as well. The one thing that worried me, or one thing I didn't like, was the Barnet game, which was a good win. Okay, we had to win ugly. We had to go the long way around. We made it really difficult for ourselves. But when the season finishes, when we get to game 46, you'll see how good a win that was. And we won, and people were still going for him. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Genuinely, I respect everybody's opinion, and a lot will be different to mine. It worried me that even though we won, there were people that were still going after him. The only way we get out of this league is together, and irrespective of whether I'm in where Darren is or where I am, or I'm a happy clapper or whatever, we only get out of this league together. We don't get out of this league divided. So I'm really pleased for him. I wouldn't have stuck by him, but I'm pleased he's made the start he has. I think he's benefited from playing some tough teams who'll come and have a go at us. I think the question about teams sitting back is fair. But we only get out of this division together. We don't get out of it divided.
Absolutely. Great message, that is. Frankie?
There's two things. Well, it's just the positive thing with him is, so if you like it or not, we've got him. We have this thought behind him. But the positive in him is that since we've been in League Two, there has not been a manager good enough as him. He's got us the highest position that we've ever been in. It might have not been the best season, but he's done the best that we've done. But you could play devil's advocate. You could say that when the only person in that piece of the puzzle in the team that didn't get promoted when we should have got promoted is the manager that's left. So it's what people see, and I think just see him at the end of the season. If we don't get promoted, I'd sack him. If we do get promoted, he could be a decent manager. And it could just be a little slip up from him, but we got to see.
Yeah, I think just as a sort of final thoughts, really, I think I can see evidence that he has learnt. He is rotating the players. He's not going to flog them to death like he was before. He's in his recruitment. He's got players covered for every position. But there are still concerns. If we get into February and things start turning bad again, I think Travella would be very quick to chop him. I think if that happened again, so he's certainly got the team together. They're all playing for him. They're really positive about him, running through brick walls for him. And as Daz quite rightly said, as a fan base, we can cripple him or help to lift him up. And I think for everybody's benefit, we need to lift him up and maybe hold back on reservations and support him. Am I a happy clapper? There's a lot of. I was going to do a video. About my thoughts on Matt Sadler, sort of good and bad, but I've sort of held off really. And with a good start we've had, I think it's good to keep the positivity. Yes, there are concerns about the limited Plan B. I did say on my preview for the Shrewsbury game whether it had been an ideal time to test out that box midfield again, having maybe Warrington and Comley and Finnegan and Ram in front, and just beyond having Carnu as a solo striker. So I think testing out other options is something that he keeps using the Virtue Trophy. But will he stick to his favourites? It seems like he is, having Jammer and Albert on the bench every week. And as Daz has quite rightly said, having both of those on the bench. And as Darren said, signing both of those for another season. I don't know what the wages are, but that does seem like a vital bit of the budget that perhaps could have been used elsewhere. But overall, for a transfer window, I think it's been good. And we've set ourselves up to be right up there again. So we're all being well. We get to January, and this time we deal with January better. Right then, thanks very much. It's been a great show. Gone through a lot of players, covered a lot of ground, and just got to keep the faith, haven't we? Final word, Darren?
Yeah, I just hope it carries on, to be honest. I hope we sit here next month and we've had some good results. Just to jump on the back of what people have been saying, I think it's quite evident that we play better against teams that are more expansive. I think like a Chesterfield, MK Dons, even Salford. the real test is it's almost pointless winning those games. I know that's not strictly true. If we don't turn up and beat Accrington or, things like this, or who will dig in against us, because they saw, I don't know if it was, I think we mentioned it before, it seemed to me like a few teams let us, didn't keep the ball at the back and kind of let us have the ball a little bit more when we were struggling last season. So hopefully we sit here in a month and we're all having a nice chat again.
Champion. Cheers, Darren. Phil?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy at the moment. Looking forward to next Saturday against Chesterfield. I think it'll be a good game. Should be a good crowd as well. I think they'll bring a few. Chance to see Mr. Sturk in action as well for Chesterfield. So I'm looking forward to that one. If we can get a win against them, then we're pretty well set after the first 7 games. So yeah, long may it continue. I've no agendas about anything. I just want Walsall to win. It's as simple as that. And Matt Sadler leading us to promotion this season would make me a very happy man. So let's hope he carries on.
That's it. Long may it continue and all that. Just a quick question. Ryan Sturk, should we boo him or just completely ignore him? I think he's probably we won't. People will boo him, but
people will boo him. But I just
ignored him.
I just think it's complete. I mean, for those that are old enough to remember, and I know a couple of us here will be, I remember a game against Derby where we relentlessly booed Junior throughout the game and gave him dog's abuse. And then what happened with 5 minutes to go?
And then scored in the last minute, didn't he?
So, yeah, people, I'm sure people will, but I just think it's just, you're just setting yourself up for a moment like that if you do it.
Nice one. Daz, final words from you?
Booing Mark Robbins at Rotherham was a particular high. That's
I remember that too.
A couple of things. I think tomorrow's going to be really busy. I got a feeling the social media team are going to have a lot of work to do tomorrow because I don't think we're anywhere near finished. And if you look at the top 8 in the table, top 10, top 8, take your pick. There's 3 or 4 that are probably in false positions at the moment, and we are not one of them.
Yeah, I like in that. Frankie?
I just continue, as you say, my longest continue. And this window has been good and it's always been good, but I think the biggest window is January. And whatever year we have a good January, this year we get promoted. So
that is well, we've been told there's lots of lessons being learned about January, so there'll be no excuses if we cop January up again. Right then, thanks everybody for coming on. It's been a great show, so thanks very much. Wolves Fan TV, the joy and the pain. Thanks for watching. Cheers.